Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome to another Flaming Dice review video. Today we are going to be taking a look at what is easily one of my favorite deck building games of all time, if not my very favorite deck building game, Star Realms. I had previously done a written review on our old website, but now we have a new website. That's just flamingdicereviews.com. The written review is not on there, but obviously this is. And we're going to take a look at what's inside and some of the gameplay. At the beginning of the game, each player starts with a deck of 10 cards. 8 scout cards, which provide 1 trade. Trade is the currency in the game. That's what you use to buy more cards and build your deck. They also start with 2 Vipers, and they provide 1 combat, which is damage used to attack the other player and their bases. Now, life in this game is measured in authority, and that's these cards over here. They are double-sided, so that as you take damage, you can flip over and remove and add cards as you gain or lose life or authority. If you recall, each player starts with the exact same deck of cards, the same 10 cards, 8 scouts and 2 vipers. Now these cards at the beginning of the game are shuffled up, so that each player starts with 10 random cards, or at least a random assortment of those 10 that we were talking about. So we have the player deck. The player will draw 5 cards, and in this case I got 4 scouts and 1 viper. In this scenario, I play my viper, I do 1 damage to my opponent, and then I play my 4 scouts, each one lending me 1 trade for a total of 4. Now you might notice that in the middle of the player area, there's some cards. There's 5 cards that are flipped over. Now these cards are for sale. Now if you recall, I have 4 trade available to me. And I look at the cost of the cards up here at the top right. Let's say that I did want a Federation shuttle, which cost 1. I now add that to my discard along with the cards that I just played. I reveal a new top card, which I can't afford. It costs 7. So I will instead use my remaining trade to buy this Imperial frigate, which costs 3. I reveal another card, and I take this Imperial frigate and add it to my discard. Then my opponent takes his turn. On my next turn, I take the remaining 5 cards. Well, I draw 5. There just happens to be 5 left. And lo and behold, I get the exact same thing. 4 scouts and 1 viper. Now remember, between the turn that you just saw, there was also my opponent's turn. And let's just say that he purchased this card. We'll reveal this one. Now on my turn, I deal another 1 damage to my opponent. Put that card in my discard. And I have another 4 trade to use. And in this case, I'm going to buy this station. And we'll take a look at the types of cards here in just a moment. I add it to my discard. And I'd like to buy the trade bot. I also add it to my discard along with the 4 trade that I just had from my scouts. I replenish the cards in the middle. Now I'm out of cards in my draw pile. So I take all of the cards that I have purchased and used, including the cards that I started with. I shuffle them up, and then on my next turn I draw 5 cards. Well, looky looky, I got a new card. So I have 4 scouts again, same as my first 2 turns, but I also have an Imperial frigate. So with this one, I get to do 4 damage to my opponent, and he has to discard a card. So that's how the turns go. Let's take a look at some of the individual cards. From the center of the deck, you can get 2 types of cards. You can get ships and you can get bases. We're going to take a look at the ships first, and in doing so we're going to look at the 4 factions of the game. To the far left we have the Machine Cult, we have the Star Empire, the Trade Federation, and the Blob faction. Now the Machine Cult on the left, they deal with scrapping cards. So as you build up your Machine Cult deck, if you choose to purchase mostly Machine Cult, it helps you cull the herd. So at the beginning of the game, players start with the Scout and Viper cards, But as you get later in the game, they become weak and they kind of gum up the works. So the scrap ability provided by a lot of the Machine Cult cards lets you get rid of those cards so that they're no longer in rotation. The Star Empire, they deal with card manipulation. They'll help you draw as you play. You see this one does 1 damage, but it also lets you draw a card. So another ability that the Star Empire has is making your opponent discard a card out of the 5 they've drawn for the beginning of their turn. The Trade Federation is just what it sounds like. They deal with a lot of trade, so they're kind of like upgraded scouts and explorers. They provide trade. Now they also provide healing. So the authority, which is the life system in the game, can be gained using this card. So if you played Embassy Yacht, not only would you have to trade to purchase new cards from the beginning of, or the middle of the table, you'd also heal yourself for 3. Over on the right is the alien race, the Blobs. Now they deal with a lot of damage. So you can see compared to the 2 and 1 of this card, the Blob Destroyer does 6 damage. So each faction has kind of their own feel, and you can mix and match as you play. You don't have to just focus on one. However, anytime you see the faction symbol down in the bottom right, like this Missile Bot has the Machine Cult faction symbol down in the bottom left, same with the Blob Destroyer, those are bonus cards. So if you play multiple of the same faction along with this card, so let's say you played the Blob Destroyer in one turn and also the Trade Bot, well, you would get these extra bonuses from each one for playing multiple of the same faction. So it does reward you for being faction loyal, but you don't have to be. Well, we saw ships, so now let's take a look at the other type of card that you can purchase from the middle of the table, and that's bases. On the left we have a blob base, and unlike ships, which you play once, you play a ship card like this Viper, you play it once, and then it's added to your discard pile. Bases, however, stay out even after your turn is over. And there's 2 types of bases. Regular bases, like the Blob Wheel, that have this shield, this silver shield, and then there's also Outpost, denoted by the black shield. Now the number inside of each shield is the life of the base. So with the Outpost, what's special about that is opponent has to destroy the outpost before they can attack you, or vice versa. You have to destroy an opponent's outpost before you can attack them. So even if you're doing 10 damage, you have to apply at least 4 of that to their space station before the other 6 will go to the player. You do not have to attack regular bases, but every turn, whether it's a regular base or an outpost, the bases provide a little bonus. So every turn the Blob Wheel can deal 1 damage to the opponent. Every turn the space station can deal 2 damage to its opponent. Now in Star Realms, players start with 50 authority or life, and once you have done enough damage to your opponent to get them down to 0 from 50, you are declared the winner. Easy peasy. Welcome back, everybody. Now that we've seen what's inside of the game and seen a little bit of how it plays, now time to talk about what I like, what I don't like, and give it a final Flaming Dice review score. I like almost everything about this game. It's small, it's portable, it fits in one small box. As you can see, it's well loved. It's gotten a lot of mileage on it. Love the mechanics, love the speed of the game. I don't care for the scorekeeping cards that are in there, but that's a small issue. I think it's cool that they thought to at least include it. So if you don't have a pen and paper, which I can't imagine you not, but if you don't, you can still use it that way. When I ran it through the Flaming Dice Reviews scoring system, which scores a game based on 8 categories, including portability, replayability, fun, gameplay, all 8 categories, this scored a 93 out of 100, which is just phenomenal. If you enjoy deck building games, if you like science fiction games in particular, I would say definitely pick this game up. It costs $15 at your friendly local gaming store. It's very inexpensive, and I think it'll be one of the you'll get a lot of miles out of that $15. And now with the expansions out, you'll get even more replayability out of it. And I'm actually going to make separate videos about those very soon. So thanks for watching.